You know that feeling when a little kid laces up his skates by the fireplace at 4 a.m. while the whole world is still asleep? When his dad, a legendary junior enforcer who once racked up 358 penalty minutes in a single season, quietly drives him to an empty rink in the freezing cold of Nova Scotia. When everyone around him says, "You're too small, you'll never make it, they'll break you," and he just keeps going. Today we go back to that exact starting point, to the boy nobody expected, to the player they hated the loudest, to the man who eventually silenced even the ones screaming the loudest. Brad Marchand, the little demon, the big nightmare, two-time Stanley Cup champion, captain of the Bruins. Then, out of nowhere, a Panther in Florida. From the little ball of hate that even President Obama nicknamed him, to the guy who, at 37, scored in overtime in the final and made entire arenas cry, in very different ways. This isn't just a hockey story. It's a saga about how a heart the size of a planet fits inside a 5 feet 9 inches frame. How hate turns into fuel. How the rat everybody wanted to crush ended up being the toughest, most resilient predator in modern hockey. Stick around until the very end. There are details waiting there, things even the most hardcore Marchand fans usually gloss right over. Details that give you chills. Details that change how you see this whole wild, beautiful, unbearable story. His parents, Lynn and Kevin Marchand, were local hockey coaches. Dad was once a feared junior enforcer, 358 penalty minutes in one season. That relentless fire ran through Brad's veins. As his mom likes to joke, he came out mischievous. Little Marshy was up at dawn every day, putting on his skates by the fire at 4 a.m., dragging Dad to the rink for 5 a.m. practices. Hockey was his entire world from the start. But despite all that passion, Marchand was never a prodigy. "I was never the best kid on my team. Anybody will tell you that," he admitted later. At 12, a coach hit him with the cold truth. Out of thousands of kids like him, maybe 0.01% ever reached the NHL. That was tough to swallow. How could a scrappy little pest, not even the top guy on his pee-wee team, beat those odds? The answer was in his attitude. A massive chip on his shoulder, his trademark. That same year, in a heated youth game, an opponent crushed his younger brother with a huge open-ice hit. His brother was down, and something flipped in Brad. His dad, coaching from the bench, leaned over and told the team, "Next shift, every time that kid touches the puck, hit him." And they did. Shift after shift. Didn't matter that he was bigger. Brad and his teammates just kept grinding him down, getting under his skin until he snapped and took a penalty. While he sat in the box, Brad's team scored the game winner. That's when it clicked. If pure skill wasn't enough to get noticed, maybe being a thorn in everyone's side was. He realized there was another way to stand out. Become the guy nobody wanted to play against. Playing on the edge gave him an edge. "I loved getting under their skin and rattling them," he said about his youth days. He was willing to be the villain if it meant winning. As he put it, "Maybe it was because of my size, but I always felt you have to be ready to do anything, literally anything, to win, even if it means being hated." It may have started out of necessity, but Brad owned that role completely. "If I played any other way," he said later, "you wouldn't even know my name." That style got him noticed by junior teams and eventually drafted by the Boston Bruins at 5'9". With grit and an unbelievable knack for agitating, Marchand climbed the junior ranks in Canada. He wasn't a top pick there either. Moncton took him in the second round, 24th overall. From 2004 to 2008, he bounced between 3 QMJHL teams: Moncton Wildcats, Val-d'Or Foreurs, and Halifax Mooseheads. Wherever he went, he produced. In his best junior season with Val-d'Or, he put up 80 points in 57 games, and he was still a total pest. By then, coaches and scouts saw it. Despite his size, Marchand had a motor that never quit and a gift for being in the right place to score and the wrong place for opponents to cause chaos. NHL scouts were split. Yeah, he had skill and points in juniors, but he was small and played with a mean streak some thought was too risky. Lots of teams doubted it would translate to the big league, but one team believed, the Boston Bruins. Known for loving tough, hard-nosed players, they saw real Boston spirit in Marchand's tenacity. At the 2006 NHL draft, Boston traded with the Islanders to get the 71st pick and grab him in the third round. Not a splashy selection, third-rounders rarely are. But for Brad, it was a dream come true. The message was clear though, nothing would be handed to him. A 5'9" third-rounder had to fight and claw for an NHL spot. And that's exactly what he did. He turned pro in 2008, debuting with the Providence Bruins in the AHL, learning the pro game against men, some nearly twice his size. He stood out right away with his relentless energy, finishing every check, chirping vets, leaving it all out there every shift. By fall 2009, at 21, he got the call he'd been battling for. The Bruins brought him up. Brad Marchand entered the NHL in October 2009, flying under the radar. No big introduction, just another call-up trying to stick. He didn't score in his first 20 games that season, grinding on the fourth line, limited minutes, mostly penalty killing. But that was fine by him. He'd play whatever role they needed. He shuttled between Providence and Boston that year, then locked down a full-time spot in 2010-11. It didn't take long for his first NHL suspension as a regular. 2 games for elbowing Columbus forward R.J. Umberger in the head. Early sign of controversies to come, but also proof he wasn't afraid to mix it up. As that season rolled on, Bruins fans started loving the spark this little rat brought. He blew past expectations, scoring 21 goals and 41 points in his first full NHL year. Fans voted him the 7th Player Award, the Bruin who exceeded expectations the most. An agitator turned fan favorite. Who saw that coming? Marchand later said the way Boston embraced him that first year made him want to run through a wall for them. Then came the 2011 playoffs, the moment the underdog story really exploded. The Bruins hadn't won the Cup in 39 years. Marchand jumped in hoping to make any impact in limited minutes. Started on the fourth line with vets Sean Thornton and Gregory Campbell. But early on, coach Claude Julien saw the fire and bumped him up to the top 6. Suddenly, the kid who sometimes sat in the AHL was lining up with Patrice Bergeron and Mark Recchi, 2 superstars. He didn't waste it. First playoff goal against Montreal in round 1. Then the floodgates opened. Boston fought to the final against the top regular season team Vancouver. The rookie turned into a clutch scorer and agitator. He scored twice in the decisive Game 7, won an empty netter to seal the 4-0 win. Across the run, 19 points, 11 goals in 25 games, tying the NHL rookie playoff goal record set by Jeremy Roenick. In the biggest moments on the biggest stage, the little kid from Nova Scotia delivered way beyond expectations. But of course, it's Brad Marchand. He left his mark in the final too. In Game 6, with Boston 1 win from the Cup, cameras caught him punching Vancouver star Daniel Sedin in the face right in front of the net, after the whistle. Sedin just stood there and took 4 or 5 glove punches while Marchand kept throwing, daring him to swing back. Refs? No call. Asked why afterward, Marchand smirked, "Because I felt like it." Instant hockey legend. The audacity, no excuse, just pure Marchand. Infuriating to opponents, gold to Boston fans. When the Bruins hoisted the Cup in June 2011, Brad's transformation was complete. In under 2 years, fringe prospect to Boston hero, champion who scored some of the biggest goals in franchise history. Even President Obama, welcoming the team to the White House, joked about his reputation, calling him the little ball of hate, a nickname Brad and the fans wore proudly. At 23, he had a cup ring. He'd reached the top at lightning speed. Little did anyone know the wild ride and the controversies were just getting started. With success came confidence, sometimes too much. He'd proven his style could win at the highest level, and he leaned all the way in as one of hockey's ultimate pests. Over the next seasons, he became that guy, the agitator who'd do anything to throw you off. Bruins fans loved him on their side. The other 29 teams? He quickly became one of the most hated players in the league. His antics piled up, and so did his Department of Player Safety file. In 2011-12, soon after the Cup, $2,500 fine for slew-footing Pittsburgh's Matt Niskanen, then a 5-game suspension for clipping Vancouver's Sami Salo, flipping the 6'3" defenseman and concussing him. Marchand and Julien called it self-defense given the size difference, but the league saw dirty play. The old Rat nickname, once Ken Linzman's, was reborn just for him. He embraced it. If they're calling him a rat, he'd be the craftiest, most annoying one possible. Year after year, elbows, slewfoots, late hits, suspensions or fines almost every season. By 2018, he'd been suspended 8 times, most of any active player, dozens of games lost.
And then he licked 2 opponents' faces in the 2018 playoffs. Yes, licked.
Round 1. Skates up to Toronto's Leo Komarov after the whistle and licks his cheek or neck. Round 2. Does it again to Tampa's Ryan Callahan right in the face during a scrum. Hockey world lost its mind. Classic Marchand, pushing every boundary of sportsmanship. NHL had to personally warn him to stop, deemed unacceptable. Story went global. Even non-hockey fans were asking, "What's wrong with this guy?" Marchand shrugged it off, but later admitted maybe he went too far. Through it all, something huge was happening. Brad Marchand was becoming an elite player. The same fire fueling his antics fueled his on-ice growth. Harder training, stronger body, sharper skills to match the grit. Early career, 20-goal, 40-point guy. Mid-2010s, breakout. 37 goals in 2015-16. Tied for 5th in NHL points with Kucherov in 2016-17. All-star nod. Suddenly, it wasn't just the pest drawing eyes, it was the numbers. He formed one of the league's most dominant lines with Bergeron and young David Pastrnak, the perfection line, as Bruins fans proudly called it. By the late 2010s, point-per-game seasons routine. Peak, 2018-19. After the licking saga and fines in 2018, he publicly said he'd look in the mirror and clean up. Skeptics laughed. Can the rat really change? He answered with 100 points, 36 goals, 64 assists. First century mark. Elite scorer. Like he channeled all the negativity into pure performance. Boston reached the 2019 final. Marchand led as star and alternate captain. That final was supposed to be redemption, second cup, silence the critics. Grueling 7-game series versus St. Louis. But Game 7 at home, they fell short. Cameras caught him on the bench, head down, tears. 8 years after the first cup, it hit hard. Maybe his best shot. The cocky kid of 2011 looked heartbroken. But true to form, he turned the pain into fuel. 2020. On pace for another 100 with 69 points in 53 games.
2021. Fastest OT playoff goal in franchise history. 5th in MVP voting. Killed penalties, ran the power play, led shorthanded goals, and still stirred the pot. 2021-22. 7th and 8th suspensions, including punching Penguins goalie Tristan Jarry. By then, most suspended player in modern NHL history. Yet, in the Bruins room, respected leader. After Chara left in 2020, alternate captain. After Bergeron retired in 2023, they gave him the C. The loose cannon became captain of one of hockey's most historic franchises, earned through pure will and loyalty. But change came fast. 2022-23 Bruins set a win record, 65. but blew a 3-1 lead to Florida in round 1. Next year, bounced again by Florida in round 2. Panthers won the Cup. Florida became Boston's nemesis, younger, faster, the future. For 36-year-old Marchand, a wake-up call. Bruins entering rebuild, time running out. March 7, 2025. Traded to the Panthers. Shock for fans, even for Brad. But perfect shot at one more cup. Swapping the spoked bee for a panther. He walked into Florida's room as the new guy. Weird for someone who'd only known one team. Familiar faces, ex-Bruins, ex-Devils he knew, but also old enemies. Sam Bennett, the guy who controversially injured him in 2024 playoffs, now teammate. Matthew Tkachuk, another notorious agitator, cut from the same cloth. Fans joked Florida now had an all-villain lineup with Marchand and Tkachuk. Truth, Panthers built a winning culture. Marchand added veteran presence. Minor injury delayed his debut a couple weeks, but once on ice, trademark intensity. First game for Florida, March 28, 2025. Set up the OT winner. Statement, he's here for big games. As 2025 playoffs started, something special brewed. Placed on the third line, less pressure, more freedom with young energy. Second round versus Toronto. Pivotal Game 7, his experience shone. 13th career Game 7, second most in NHL history. 5th against Toronto alone.
Leafs fans, surely sick of him, watched again. 3-point night, 2 assists, empty net goal. 6-1 win. Toronto defeated, again at his expense. Panthers kept winning. Marchand kept rising. Conference final, then Cup final versus powerhouse Edmonton, led by the world's best, Connor McDavid. Epic clash. Flashy, skilled Oilers versus gritty, relentless Panthers. Who stands in McDavid's way? Brad Marchand, the grizzled vet capping his underdog tale. Game 2, double OT in Edmonton. Turning point. Oilers took Game 1, Panthers needed to even it. Second OT. Anton Lundell threads a perfect pass. Marchand breaks in alone. Ice in his veins. 5-hole on Stuart Skinner. At 37, mobbed by teammates after one of the biggest goals in Panthers history. Tied the series 1-1, swung momentum. Made him oldest ever to score OT in a cup final. Game 3, goal just 56 seconds in. Early lead, 8th playoff goal, 3rd straight in final. Broke 52-year record by Hall of Famer Frank Mahovlich, oldest to score in Games 1, 2, and 3 of a final. By Game 6 back in Florida, 6 final goals, 10 total in the run. Inspired by his leadership and clutch play, Panthers closed out Edmonton 5-1. Second straight cup, second for Marchand, 14 years after the first. As final seconds ticked, he paused in the chaos. Slowly skated down the slot, pointed up to the stands. Wife, kids, family watching. He'd been away 3 months chasing the dream. Wife Katrina and kids stayed in Boston post-trade. Wordlessly, we did it. Katrina cried tears of joy, later saying, "It was worth it. He works his butt off every day. After everything he's been through, this means the world." Conn Smythe votes. Marchand second with 68 points. Close, but Panthers' Sam Bennett took it with 76. Bennett, I don't think we win without him. His leadership, will to win, inspiring. He was a dog every night. He could have won this. He's a better player and person than I knew. Grateful I got to play with him. From the guy who once punched him in the head, now a fan. Marchand earned respect from those who used to hate facing him. Hockey world officially humbled. Lifting the cup, he looked back to 2011. Feels completely different now. So much more respect for how hard it is. My situation's perfect example. I shouldn't have been here, but it worked out. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Classic Brad, blunt, honest. Odds of a 5'9" 37-year-old mid-season trade winner, near zero. But if anyone could defy them, it's Marchand. The 2025 Cup was ultimate validation. Not just another ring, how he did it. Key role proving doubters wrong one last time. And true to form, no quiet celebration. Summer 2025 became the summer of Brad. First, epic social media trolling spree. Days after the win, Instagram posts thanking NHL teams for giving players that helped Florida win. Tagged Calgary for Bennett and Tkachuk, Buffalo for Reinhart, Flyers for Bobrovsky. Rubbed salt in every wound of teams that let talent go to Florida. Fans cringed. But he wasn't done. Went through every non-Panthers team, one petty jab after another. Exhaustive, hilariously petty. Classic Marchand mocking the League Cup in hand. Then the Oilers, the team they just beat. Instagram story, him in an Oilers logo shirt. But the logo read something else. Savage victory lap. Went viral. Some laughed. Brad, never change. Even some Oilers fans called it darkly funny. Others, classless, fuel for next year. Trolling aside, in Florida, off ice, instant icon. During the parade and parties, peak form. Days after lifting the cup, shows up at a local Dairy Queen in Sunrise, behind the counter, serving his own custom blizzard, chocolate chirp cookie dough. Lines out the door, handing cones, taking pics, loving every second. Absurd, fun, pure on-brand. Local media said the trade unleashed a lighter, freer side, finally playing and living with total joy.
Winning brings out the best in people. As summer rolled on, hints he's not done. Now UFA, Boston contract ended with the cup. Joked with Panthers GM Bill Zito he might buy a Dairy Queen to stay. Translation, he loves life as a Panther, likely sticking around. From cup champ to social media king to ice cream VIP, the Marchand legend grew bigger. But beyond antics, the core resonates with millions. The underdog who refused to quit. Entered the league unnoticed, told he's too small, cast as villain, knocked down, sometimes his own fault, but always got up. Earned respect, from teammates who followed him into battle, coaches who trusted him in every spot, even rivals who hated the pest but feared the player. He humbled the NHL's best time and again. 2 goals in Game 7 as a rookie to out-dueling McDavid in 2025. Name on the cup twice, 14 years apart. 1,000-game club member, nearing 1,000 points, around 980. Milestone almost nobody predicted in 2006. All-star, 100-point scorer, shutdown guy, and yes, most suspended ever. Contradictions blended into extraordinary. Villain turned leader, agitator turned star, hated rival turned beloved champion. In the end, the fiery spirit that made him a lightning rod was the fuel for his success. He needed that edge, that willingness to do anything. If I played any other way, he said, I wouldn't be in the NHL. He's right. By being unapologetically himself, embracing the underdog mentality, outworking, outsmarting, outbattling everyone, he built a legacy that'll echo for years. Turned doubters into believers, haters into witnesses of greatness. That's how an undersized, underestimated forward humbled the entire NHL, proving heart beats hype. A pest can become a powerhouse. And no hate stops a man who hates losing even more. Love him or hate him, Brad Marchand's story is the ultimate hockey underdog tale, as unexpected as the man himself.
Thanks for watching. If you want another rule-breaking NHL legend, the guy who partied all night and still tore the league apart, check out our video on Gilmore. Like, subscribe, drop your favorite Marchand moment in the comments. See you next time.